What's the best thing to come out of Japan? Is it PlayStation, Pokemon, Pocky? We all know plenty of Japanese inventions, but there are some incredibly useful items that you use almost daily that you may not have known were made in Japan. I'm Jun from Japan Junkie, and today we're going to look at 10 amazing inventions you didn't know were Japanese. Number 10. We're kicking off the list with an invention you're probably using right now. The existence of HD TVs and LCD screens are all in some way thanks to Japanese inventors. Unbelievably, the term high-definition television has been used since 1936. It would be amazing to see what they thought was high definition back then. Developed by NHK after the Tokyo Olympics in 1964, modern HD TVs became available in 1979. But it was in 1992 that 3 Japanese scientists invented blue LED light, which gave us the ability to produce white light in TV and computer screens. It also led to more energy and cost-efficient lighting, which is why they won the Nobel Prize for their invention. Number 9. The selfie stick was first created by Hiroshi Ueda after a trip to Europe. He wanted a photo with his family, so he gave his camera to a child. The kid proceeded to run off, leaving Hiroshi pictureless and cameraless. Considering the divisive invention came from Japan, it seems ironic that the selfie stick is banned in many tourist locations in Japan. This is because it disturbs the harmonious flow of human traffic as the users become unaware of their surroundings.
There you go.
Think about this. In 2014, selfie sticks were the most popular Christmas gift. The following year, in 2015, dozens of people died from taking selfies, while only 8 died from shark attack. Amazingly, the number of selfie-related deaths tripled after lockdown lifted. Whether running in front of trains or running in front of bulls, is a selfie stick really worth it for the perfect photo? Number 8. After we've taken all those photos with our selfie sticks, we need somewhere to store them. It's almost impossible to think where we'd be without flash memory. From the memory cards in the 90s to USB flash drives and the memory stored on our computers, smartphones and gaming consoles. The inventor Fujio Masuoka was working for a big Japanese company at the time of his invention. Unfortunately, he felt that his invention was unappreciated, and so he went on to become a professor at Tohoku University. I'm sure he has a lot of fans now, because without flash memory, we would have to store our millions of photos in photo albums. Number 7. What would life be without emojis? How would we be able to show people how we really feel? In the dark ages before emojis, it was common for text messages to have questionable subtext. But not anymore, thanks to this brilliant invention from Japan. You'd be forgiven for thinking that the word emoji comes from the word emotion, but it's just a coincidence. The E means picture and the moji means letter, so they're picture letters. Of the 3,000 emojis, overall, the tears laughing emoji is the most used. Let us know what your most used emoji is. Number 6. Even when you're using a pen, there's a chance you're using another Japanese invention, as long as it's a gel pen or a rollerball pen. And why wouldn't you? If you don't care about pens, it's understandable that you might think a rollerball pen and a ballpoint pen are the same thing. But once you feel the difference, you won't want to go back. The ink flows faster and more evenly, avoiding that annoying scratching and making writing a little less taxing on your hand. It must be why the pens in Japanese hotels are so good. Gel pens are even more inky and require almost no pressure to use. The downside is they can smudge, but luckily you can use correction tape, which is a bonus Japanese invention not mentioned on today's list. Number 5. The first laptops were introduced in the early 80s as a smaller and more portable alternative to the desktop computer. However, they weighed 12 kilos or 26 pounds, which is almost 8 times heavier than today's laptops. The first Apple laptop in 1989 cost $7,300, about $16,000 by today's money. While these heavy, expensive computers had limited computing power compared to today's standards, they paved the way for the lighter, more powerful and affordable laptops that we use today. Number 4. QR codes, short for quick response codes, were invented way back in 1994 by DensoWave. Which is amazing considering there's a large percentage of the planet who had never used them at all until certain events of 2020 forced people to use QR codes to enter anywhere or do anything. Nowadays, they're used in many ways, from magazines to television, advertising to government. But does anyone really know how this complicated little pattern works? Barcodes were a little easier to understand, however their simplicity meant that they could only contain a small amount of information to transfer. Classic barcodes hold around 9 numbers, which correspond with line thickness, whereas QR codes can hold thousands of characters, more than enough for a menu item or a web address. Number 3. While Gen Z will probably zone out for this one, everyone else will appreciate just how much these items have contributed to the very fabric of our lives. CDs and DVDs are more than just vessels for giving us information. People invested time and money to build their collections, which are now so nostalgic that it's difficult to get rid of them. VHS stands for Video Home System, and that's exactly what it gave us. People were able to watch whatever they wanted in their homes. We then got DVDs that took up a fraction of the size of the VHS tape boxes, and you didn't even have to rewind them. Then Blu-ray came along and... But really, in the age of convenience, with streaming and the cloud, every now and then the people who remember these brilliant inventions will look at a buffering screen and just wish they had the DVD. Number 2. Instant noodles, feeding college students since 1958 thanks to Japanese businessman Momofuku Ando. The first instant noodles were called chicken ramen. Now there are thousands of flavours, including sea salt and olive or ratatouille, with new flavours created every year. Instant noodles are consumed by millions of people worldwide every single day. In 2013, the instant noodle industry was valued at $35 billion globally. As a way to honour his contribution to the food industry, a statue of Momofuku was erected in 2011 in front of the Instant Ramen Museum. And yes, that's right, there's an Instant Ramen Museum in Japan, which is a pilgrimage for cup noodle lovers. Number 1. Itchy. It's estimated that somewhere around 1 trillion photos are taken per year. In fact, we take more pictures every 2 minutes than the whole of humanity took in the 1800s. But people back then couldn't exactly carry those big cameras around in their pockets. The fact is that most people don't leave their homes without their phones and therefore always have a camera on them. We can thank Japan for the first fully integrated camera phone, as now we have more pictures of cats and food than we could ever need. Thank you for staying all the way to the end. You can leave a comment with any suggestions you have for future videos, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.